After 30 years working here with the Anoka County Historical Society, Vickie Wendel is retiring to focus on family. She left a major impact in this building where her name will be remembered more than the local pioneers and politicians from the county's past.
Oh, if you want to learn, teach, because you learn way more from teaching than you ever do on your own. I like both. One can't be without the other. When you learn something new and you're excited about it, you want to share it. As soon as you start sharing it, you're teaching it.
Vickie Wendel says she learned about the Anoka County Historical Society while teaching a community ed class.
The instructor in the room next to mine was doing a talk about Anoka County history, and she was a volunteer from the Historical Society. And we happened to meet in the hall and started talking.
An invite to check out the old Historical Society building at Colonial Hall spurred interest, and it didn't take long for her to get involved.
When I first started as a volunteer, mostly it was giving tours. I was a tour guide at Colonial Hall because that was our headquarters at the time, so I gave tours of the 1904 house, portrayed Dr. Flora Aldrich a time or two.
As a volunteer, she learned more about the county and then about a new job opportunity.
When one of the people decided to retire, they asked me if I wanted to take her place. That was in 1989, so I accepted the job and been here ever since. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I could learn a lot. I had all these resources at my fingertips that I could start digging into and reading and learning, and it was fascinating. I loved it.
She says before it moved to the current location, there wasn't enough space for groups to come and learn.
I really worked hard to develop an outreach program where we could get out, take the history to where people were, and that was something I really worked hard at.
She developed a talent for making what to some might seem old and dusty, fresh and exciting.
When we take a Civil War program out to a school, we deliberately do some research and find names that came from that area, and we throw those names into the program. And we've had kids go, "That's my name," or "That's my grandpa's name," or they'll know that family name, and immediately they connect.
Vickie's always been a teacher. She teaches people about history, whether it be the history of the county or the history of this work. And she's enthusiastic about the work, and it's contagious.
When we go out and do programs, we use a lot of dramatic technique. A lot of suspense, so we'll go with a box or a bag or something of stuff. We generally go in costume, and we will, you walk in wearing full hoop skirts or a bustle, and these kids can't take their eyes off you because they've never seen this before. Then they can't stop paying attention because you keep pulling things out as you're talking about them. So it's always this, you've got them hooked, you've got them paying attention.
Adults paid attention too when Vickie took on a challenging exhibit where the best contributors were reluctant to share their history.
To get these vets to talk was really difficult because they didn't have a lot of trust. Based on their Vietnam vets coming home experience, they were very suspicious of what somebody wanted to do with their story.
When she did the Vietnam display, it really had a heartfelt gratitude for all of us. It was our welcoming home back to Anoka County that we had been missing for a long time, and we really felt good about the way she recognized what we had been through and what we wanted to be remembered for.
They were so excited about it that it was fun to include them. And I think the healing that came out of that exhibit for these veterans in the community of how they look at Vietnam veterans was probably the most unexpected and the highest point in my career as a history person.
Former Historical Society Executive Director Todd Mahan says the work she did behind the scenes deserves even more recognition.
I mean, we saw the Vietnam Veterans Experience exhibit, and that's, I think, such a prominent example, but it's only one. It's one that we can't forget. I mean, she used history to change lives there, and that's what we should be doing with history, and she did it there, but she did it in a lot of other places too. So she's one of a kind.
After Rebecca Ebnet-Mavenkamp replaced Mahan, she says she soon realized the value of Vickie's knowledge of the county's history.
I just clung onto her shirt tails and just rode along. She knows everybody and has contacts in every sector of the county. So one of my first days here, we went on a 3 or 4 hour ride around the county, and she told stories the whole time that we went.
Through her work as program director, Vickie also became an author. She chronicled the history of the Anoka County Sheriff's Office in a book called Keepers of the County, and she edited Picturing Anoka County to celebrate its sesquicentennial.
We have a long history of excellence, and I'm very proud of that history, and I've learned more about that thanks to her book and my interactions with her, than I would have ever known otherwise.
She recently decided it was time to turn the page on her time at the Historical Society and retire to focus on family.
You've got parents that need a little bit more help here and there, and in-laws that need a little bit more help here and there. I've got a little grandson who I do some daycare for. My own kids, every once in a while, they're still coming back going, "Mom!" And it was getting harder and harder to balance time, because with all the new activities and all the growth that the Anoka County Historical Society is experiencing with our projects and our programs and our activities, it was getting harder and harder to balance. I was pulled in so many directions that it didn't feel as good anymore. So we've got an amazing staff. The place is in very good hands.
Historical Society staff wouldn't let Vickie's time there go unrecognized. A retirement ceremony was held in her honor.
I was very overwhelmed with how many people came. They were all my friends. It meant the world to me.
We all just have a special place in our heart for Vickie, because she's had such a can-do attitude and been so conscientious about preserving the history of our county.
She was presented with the Sheriff's Recognition for Outstanding Service coin, and the Historical Society named its break room after her, a place she rarely saw.
Her commitment to excellence for all those many years is really what helped set her apart, and knowing the heart behind her service is also what helped set her apart.
There's so much to celebrate about her as a person, and so many lives that she's touched. To bring it all together in one room and have that ability for people to come back and take an hour out to say thank you and to tell her what they've experienced through her and how she's impacted them.
As somebody who was ostensibly supposed to be the leader and face of it, Vickie was so much the face of this organization.
I think everybody here has just fond feelings for her, and she's been great. So I wouldn't have missed it.
Her enthusiasm and her optimism whipped my cynicism any day of the week, and I've still carried that with me. So even though I don't see her every day, she's always with me. I can't thank her enough for being a part of my life.
But with a chance to still volunteer on her own time, Vickie won't be gone completely.
I can't leave this place. My heart is here, so I can't leave. No, there's things I really, really want to come back to do, such as the kids club, such as helping with some exhibit pieces.
I don't think anybody wants to sort of like run into retirement at a brick wall. I mean, I think it'll be a great pace for her to sort of ease into it.
She's welcome to be here as much as she wants to.
Now a part of the county's history herself, Vickie says she'll continue to learn and teach.
History can teach us about what worked before. History can teach us also about what didn't work so well. And we can look at it and go, okay, how can we take those lessons and apply them to an issue of today and make the future better? It doesn't just sit there on a shelf. It's active, it's alive, it can be very valuable in helping us figure out who we want to be in the future. It tells us not only who we are now and how we got to be who we are, but it allows us to figure out better ways to be who we want to be as the days go by.